Imagine you are a child and you went to bed sleeping, but the next time you open your eyes, you found yourself standing in a shopping mall. How did you get to the shopping mall? You don't know, but you just arrived there. That is how a lot of us live our lives. We go through days, months, years, purely on autopilot. We step into decisions we don't make. Today, we are going to be talking about how to stop living your life on autopilot. We'll also be talking about what going with the flow means and what not settling for less truly means. I want you to listen till the end so that you don't miss anything. Hello, everybody. You're welcome once again. This is Changing Your Mentality podcast. Thank you so very much for taking out your precious moment to listen to me speak to you on here. How are you doing? It is more than 5 months now that I started chanting the phrase that I will no longer live my life unconsciously and spontaneously, that I will start living my life consciously and intentionally. Now, when I was saying those phrases, I wasn't thinking about it. I don't even know how the phrase got into my mind, but I found myself saying it for days. But the moment came where I paused and I asked myself a question: what are you saying? And I repeated the phrase again, that I will no longer live my life unconsciously and spontaneously, that I'll start living my life consciously and intentionally. And that was when I looked at myself very well. I said, do you know you've been living your life unconsciously and spontaneously all along? I decided to take stock of my life. And what I found was not a beautiful carousel. It was a merry-go-round. I was stepping into decisions without being conscious about them. I do not make plans. I do not take actionable steps. And while I was thinking about that, I heard myself say that when we start living our life consciously and intentionally, that we are going to remove the word faith, F-A-T-E, from our dictionary. That the core reason why the word faith exists, it's because we live our life unconsciously and spontaneously. We are not aware when we take decisions, and we don't take actionable steps. We just live. And that brings me to what going with the flow means. Because previously I thought I was going with the flow. When I heard that going with the flow, it didn't come from me from the inside. I just heard it from the outside. And I thought going with the flow is you just waking up and you keep imagining your life. And the life would just somehow fall on your lap. Now that is faith. But what going with the flow means is you make decisions. You consciously make plans. And you consciously take actionable steps. And then you release the outcome. That is what going with the flow means. You See, the difference between the water we are in right now that we call air and the water that is in the ocean is frequency. If we go into that water, which has a more lower frequency than this water, we can breathe just the way if we bring a fish into this water where we call air, the fish can breathe. Now, there is storm in the ocean and there is storm in this water. But the difference between the storm in the ocean and the storm in where we call air is we call the storm here as challenges, as obstacles, but they are storms. We would always encounter storms in our lives. We cannot control the storms. There will be storms. Ask any sailor. They'll tell you that when you make plans that you're going into the ocean, you should be prepared for storms. That is why they have the storm sails. Because you cannot control the storms, but you can take actions when the storms arrive. Take for instance, you say you want to be a ballet dancer, and then a storm arrived, you broke your ankle. You don't go and sit down in a corner and tell yourself that my life has come to an end. I can't do anything anymore with my life. That is you bringing suffering upon your life because you are attached to an identity. You are not a product that needs an identity. So telling yourself that because I told myself that I must become a ballet dancer and I sprained my ankle, it's over for me. It's you bringing suffering upon your life. But you can tell yourself that this ankle doesn't define me. I can choose to pivot. Why did I want to become a ballet dancer in the first place? Is it from my ego? Did I just want to perform for an audience to get an applause? Is it from authenticity? Was I doing it out of a place of love? Out of a place of fun, joy, and fulfillment? When you ask yourself that question and then you get the answer, you'll be able to know. Okay, if it's from my ego, I'm glad I sprained my ankle. I release it. If it's from authenticity, you know that authenticity does not just need one form. Life is like a canvas. You can paint it whatever you want. Your soul can choose different forms to express itself. And that is okay. There is no one form for you to express yourself. As long as you don't hide in a corner, you tell yourself that this is something I could have never controlled. I was training and I sprained my ankle. I went to the doctors and the doctors told me there is nothing I can do. I tried different places and I was told I should let go of being a ballet dancer. And knowing that I don't really need to become anything, everything on the outside of me are just role playing. I can choose another role. Okay, I am pivoting and I'm going to become an orchestra singer. I want to play the role of an orchestra singer. Okay, I am going to play the role of teaching ballet. I'm going to play the role of an artist. That is you going with the flow of life. Coming to tell yourself that I do not control reality. I once heard somebody say that spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. That is not the truth. This reality is nothing we can control. Why? Because it is not set in stone. It happens moment by moment. So what are you controlling? You cannot control your reality, but you can control how you act when the reality happens, when the storm comes. How are you going to act? Will you drop the storm sail and go with the flow of the storm? Or will you sit down and wallow in pain and bring suffering upon your life? The choice is yours to take. And the next thing we are talking about now is what settling for less really means. When we say do not settle for less, we are not saying that because you said that you want to become a ballet dancer and the storm happened and you going to become an orchestra singer is settling for less. That is not the truth. That is not you settling for less. That is you going with the flow of life. What settling for less is, you are in a place where you are undervalued and underappreciated. And because you have given that place years of your life, you tell yourself that there is nothing I can do. I've given this place 10 years of my life, and there is nothing left for me again out there. That is you choosing to settle for less. Previously, you were unconscious about what was happening. You did not have the awareness that you were undervalued and underappreciated. But now you've come to the awareness. You're conscious. You were living a life of autopilot before, and now you don't want to do that. You don't want to be in control of your life. Forget the 10 years. Because once you're lying down on your deathbed, you're not going to tell yourself that I wish I had confronted my boss. No, you're going to tell yourself, I wish I had taken a step and left that office. I wish I had chosen myself. So rather than you waiting to get to that place of I wish, why don't you right now take a step and leave, so that when you get to that next moment, you will say, I am glad I took a step. Now, someone will say, Vicky, what about bills? Now, you should come to this realization that if all you think about is bills, all you will feel is bills, and all you will attract is bills. Because what you think is what you feel, and what you feel is what you attract. So let go of the bill mentality. You're paying your bills, but are you joyful? You have a roof over your head, but are you satisfied? You can feed yourself, you can clothe yourself, but do you feel fulfilled? If the answer is no, then you know you can't take a decision. You can start now today and tell yourself that I know my worth, I know my value. I choose not to stay in a place where I am undervalued and underappreciated. I am going to step out of this cage. The fact that you don't see the chains does not mean it's not there. The chains we cannot see are the one that is more difficult for us to cut off from. Stand up. Right now, you need to wake up and tell yourself, I am awake now. I am aware. I can see. I know my value. I know my worth. Forget the years that I've given you. Even though I have like 2 years to live, I want to live those 2 years from a place of joy, from a place of satisfaction, from a place of fulfillment. I want to live the remaining years of my life like that. That is what you need to tell yourself. Do not stay in a corner thinking there is nothing left for you. As long as you have breath, there's a whole lot of things you can do with your life. Okay? If there is anything you're going to leave today's episode with, number one, I'm going to eradicate faith from my dictionary. I'm going to start making conscious plans and take conscious, actionable steps, and I'll release the outcome. Because the outcome is not in my control. But what is in my control is taking plans and taking actions. The next one is, I know my worth. I know my value. I am going to choose to be fulfilled. I'm going to choose to be joyful. I will no longer put myself in a cage that doesn't belong to me. All right? Now, if you're listening to me via Spotify, I would love for you to follow Changing Your Mentality podcast on Spotify. If you're watching me on YouTube, why don't you give Changing Your Mentality podcast a like and subscribe to the channel? If today's episode did resonate with you, I want you to share it with as many people as you can that you know are living their lives on autopilot. Until our next episode, I am you and you're me. I love you. Bye for now.